Avoiding toxic relationships in old age is a crucial component of maintaining emotional and physical well-being during the later stages of life. As we grow older, our circles tend to shrink, and the people we choose to keep close play a much more significant role in shaping our everyday happiness, peace of mind, and overall health. Recognizing and distancing ourselves from toxic individuals becomes not just a matter of emotional maturity, but a necessity for a peaceful, fulfilling, and dignified aging process. Many seniors struggle with loneliness, dependence, and emotional vulnerability, which makes them more susceptible to falling into or staying stuck in unhealthy and manipulative relationships, whether with family members, friends, caregivers, or even new romantic partners. Toxic relationships can take many forms and often carry subtle signs that grow over time, making it hard for an elderly person to even realize they are being harmed. Toxic relationships are defined by manipulation, disrespect, control, constant negativity, and emotional or even physical abuse. In many cases, the toxicity isn't obvious. It could be masked under the guise of caretaking or even familial obligation, and therefore requires a keen sense of awareness to detect. The first step to avoiding these relationships is self-awareness. Seniors must be encouraged to engage in reflective practices to assess how different people in their lives make them feel. If a person consistently leaves them feeling drained, anxious, insecure, or ashamed, then that relationship may be toxic. Having a journal where they can record their emotions after interactions can be helpful over time. A pattern may reveal itself, which can then be evaluated with the help of a trusted counselor or therapist. The second most critical step is setting boundaries. Boundaries are essential at any age, but particularly so in old age when our patience and energy levels are limited and must be preserved for what truly matters. It's vital to be clear about what kind of behavior is acceptable and what is not. For example, a senior may tell a family member that unannounced visits are not acceptable, or may choose not to discuss sensitive topics like finances, health, or past mistakes with certain individuals. Setting boundaries is not rude or selfish. It is self-preservation. For those in old age who may have never practiced it before, it may feel awkward or even aggressive, but with practice and reinforcement, it becomes a powerful tool in protecting one's peace. Communication also plays a massive role. Many toxic dynamics thrive in silence when an elderly individual is too afraid or embarrassed to speak up about how they are feeling. The toxic person continues to manipulate and control with no consequence. Seniors must be taught and reminded that their feelings are valid and their voice matters. No one deserves to be belittled, ignored, or mistreated, especially in a phase of life that should be dedicated to comfort, reflection, and joy. Opening up to a trusted friend, therapist, or even a support group can offer a safe space to explore these concerns and validate experiences. One of the biggest misconceptions about toxic relationships is that they only occur in romantic partnerships. But for seniors, toxic relationships are often with adult children, caregivers, neighbors, or longtime friends who have over time developed harmful patterns. Perhaps an adult child constantly guilts the parent for financial support, or a caregiver subtly manipulates the elderly person into doing things against their will. Maybe a longtime friend has always been emotionally distant, yet expects unwavering support in times of need. Identifying these patterns is the first step in making changes. Another significant part of avoiding toxic relationships in old age is reducing dependence. When a senior is overly dependent on another person, whether emotionally, financially, or physically, it gives that person undue control and power in their lives. While some dependence is natural due to health or mobility issues, efforts should be made to maintain as much independence as possible using community services such as meal delivery, transportation programs, and in-home health aides can reduce reliance on potentially toxic individuals. Additionally, learning to use technology can empower seniors to stay connected, informed, and independent. Many organizations offer digital literacy classes specifically for older adults. Learning to use smartphones, video calling, and even social media safely can help seniors build healthier relationships outside their immediate circles. Cultivating healthy friendships and social connections is also key to avoiding toxicity. Seniors should not isolate themselves because isolation can make one more vulnerable to manipulation. Loneliness can drive people to accept unhealthy behaviors just for the sake of companionship. Joining clubs, attending community events, volunteering, and staying involved in religious or cultural groups can help foster new positive connections that reinforce a sense of purpose and belonging. Sometimes avoiding toxic relationships also means walking away from long-standing ties. This can be incredibly difficult, especially when the relationship spans decades, but time invested should never be the reason to endure ongoing hurt and disrespect. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time does not mean they deserve a permanent place in your heart or your home. Choosing to love certain people from a distance can be the healthiest option. It is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength and self-respect. Legal awareness is also a crucial aspect. Seniors should be informed of their rights, particularly in cases of financial or emotional abuse from family or caregivers. Having a power of attorney, clear will, and financial safeguards in place can prevent others from taking advantage of them. Seeking the advice of a trusted lawyer or legal aid can help in ensuring protection from exploitation in situations where confronting a toxic person feels unsafe or impossible. Seeking external support is essential. There are numerous organizations, charities, and hotlines dedicated to elder support and protection. In many countries, elder abuse is a crime and help is available. Seniors should be made aware of these options and feel empowered to reach out when needed. Family members and loved ones also have a role to play in protecting elders from toxic relationships. They must be observant, sensitive, and proactive when they notice unusual changes in behavior, withdrawal, or signs of stress among older family members. Regular check-ins, open conversations, and involvement in the elder's life can prevent many situations from escalating. Unchecked teaching seniors to trust their gut is also vital. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Intuition is often brushed aside, especially when dealing with people we care about. But those gut feelings are often the first indicators that something isn't right. Creating a culture where seniors are encouraged to listen to and act on their instincts can save them from much pain and distress. It is also helpful to reflect on personal patterns. Some seniors may have grown up in environments where toxic behavior was normalized. They may have experienced decades of relationships where their needs were sidelined or their self-worth was minimized. Such long-standing emotional habits don't disappear overnight, but with effort, guidance, and therapy, these patterns can be unlearned and replaced with healthier dynamics. Spirituality and self-care play their own important roles. Spending time in reflection, prayer, or meditation can center the mind and strengthen inner resolve. Engaging in hobbies, exercising within one's limits, eating well, and prioritizing rest can enhance mood and resilience. When one feels good, physically and mentally, they are less likely to tolerate bad behavior from others. Cultivating self-respect is a slow but rewarding process. Affirmations therapy and surrounding oneself with positive influences all contribute to building a mindset where toxicity is not tolerated, no matter the source. It's also important to remember that being alone is not the same as being lonely. Sometimes being alone is exactly what is needed to heal, regain clarity, and rebuild inner strength. Many elders stay in toxic relationships out of fear of loneliness. But solitude, when embraced, can be powerful and rejuvenating. It can open doors to rediscovery, hobbies, new interests, and more fulfilling connections down the line. One must also challenge the societal narrative that paints old age as a period of helplessness and decline. Instead, seniors should be encouraged to see it as a time of wisdom, choice, and freedom, the freedom to choose who stays in their lives and who doesn't, the wisdom to recognize manipulation and deceit, and the strength to walk away from it all. Finally, seniors must be reminded that they are worthy of love, kindness, and respect. Their age does not diminish their value or their right to healthy relationships. Each day is an opportunity to choose better, to surround oneself with peace and positivity, and to demand nothing less than mutual respect in every interaction. Elders have lived full lives, full of joy, pain, growth, and sacrifice. They deserve peace and comfort. In return, avoiding toxic relationships is not a one-time decision, but a continuous practice of self-respect, awareness, and boundary setting, and every senior has the power to make that choice each and every day. As the journey of avoiding toxic relationships in old age continues, it is important to dive deeper into the emotional dynamics that often trap seniors in unhealthy connections. Many older adults carry deep emotional ties from earlier years. Sometimes guilt and obligation stemming from past decisions can lead a person to feel they owe someone continued loyalty or support, even when it is harmful to their mental health. A parent who regrets not being present enough in their child's youth may overcompensate in old age by tolerating that child's abusive or manipulative behavior. These emotional debts are illusions created by guilt and unresolved feelings. It is vital to understand that making peace with the past does not mean sacrificing your well-being in the present. Forgiveness and redemption are personal journeys, and they must never require accepting abuse or disrespect in return. Sometimes, seniors stay in toxic relationships because they fear change. They are used to certain patterns and routines, even if those routines involve negativity and control. Change, especially in later years, can feel daunting, overwhelming, and lonely. But comfort zones built on dysfunction are not truly comfortable. They merely feel familiar, and familiarity should never be mistaken for peace. Peace comes from being surrounded by mutual love, empathy, honesty, and kindness, not control, resentment, and fear. Building a new life free from toxicity requires courage, but the rewards are far greater than the risks. It allows room for growth, new connections, happiness, and ultimately peace of mind. Another aspect that often keeps elders stuck in toxic relationships is the fear of confrontation. Many seniors were raised in cultures or times where speaking up, especially against family or authority figures, was seen as disrespectful or inappropriate. This cultural conditioning can become a barrier to asserting oneself, but asserting boundaries is not disrespectful. It is healthy, necessary, and honorable. If speaking up directly feels difficult, written communication can be a helpful alternative. Writing a letter expressing feelings and boundaries allows space to be honest without the stress of confrontation and gives the other person time to absorb the message without reacting impulsively. Also, seniors must never underestimate the importance of their personal space, whether they live in a shared household or alone. Having areas that are designated for peace, privacy, and personal reflection is critical. No one should have access to their entire life without permission. Even family members respecting one's personal space is a fundamental element of respect, and any relationship that disregards that boundary is suspect. In situations where physical safety is a concern, it is essential to seek immediate help. Toxic relationships can escalate and become dangerous. Seniors should know they have every right to report abuse, whether emotional, financial, or physical. Many communities have elder abuse hotlines, support centers, and emergency services that are ready to respond without judgment. Creating an emergency plan, such as having a neighbor or friend check in regularly or having a safe word to use over the phone, can provide additional protection and peace of mind. Awareness campaigns and public education are vital too. Communities must be more involved in educating seniors about their rights and providing accessible resources for help. Workshops, printed guides, social media, and radio can all play roles in spreading this awareness. Caregivers and healthcare professionals should also be trained to spot signs of abuse or manipulation during visits. Subtle cues like changes in mood, reluctance to speak, or unexplained bruises should never be ignored. In many cases, the abuse is silent, emotional in nature, such as constant criticism, isolation, or gaslighting, which makes the victim doubt their own memories or judgment for these situations. Professional counseling can be transformative. Therapists who specialize in geriatric care understand the unique emotional landscape of old age and can offer tools and validation to help elders rebuild confidence and clarity. Financial independence also plays a huge role in reducing vulnerability. Toxic people often use financial control as a tool to dominate seniors, either by manipulating access to funds, coercing wills, or exploiting banking privileges. It is crucial to set up secure and transparent financial systems. Seniors should work with trusted financial advisors and lawyers to create structures that protect their assets while allowing them full autonomy whenever possible. Trusted third-party monitoring and joint oversight can be used without surrendering complete control. Having digital literacy is equally critical. Many scams today are carried out through emails, phone calls, and social media targeting the elderly, specifically learning to recognize phishing schemes. Fraudulent offers and emotional manipulation tactics online can safeguard both emotional and financial well-being. Seniors must be encouraged to question and verify everything that feels too good to be true and seek advice before taking any action. One must also recognize that ending a toxic relationship is not a failure, it is a success, a triumph of self-respect and growth. Some seniors may grieve the end of such a relationship, not because it was good, but because it was familiar and once had the promise of love or companionship. Grieving the end of toxic ties is a necessary process and should be allowed to unfold without guilt. Allowing oneself to feel sadness, anger, and even relief is part of the healing journey. In the process of moving forward, creating a new routine is very helpful. Filling the void left by a toxic relationship with positive habits, new hobbies or supportive connections can prevent emotional relapse into harmful patterns. Senior centers, book clubs, fitness classes, and even pet adoption can introduce companionship and purpose into daily life. Spiritual growth and connection with nature can also provide profound healing. Many seniors find comfort in gardening, walking in the park, joining prayer groups, or spending quiet time in meditation, reconnecting with the self and with the world in ways that fostered peace and joy, can fill the heart with the contentment that toxic people once drained away. Support groups are another lifeline. Connecting with others who have walked similar paths creates a network of empathy, advice, and understanding. Whether in person or online, these communities empower seniors to reclaim their voice and share their stories without judgment. Often simply knowing you are not alone is the beginning of liberation from isolation and fear. It reinforces the truth that dignity and love do not expire with age, but grow stronger when nourished by courage and choice. For caregivers and family members, it is crucial to educate themselves on how not to become toxic influences unintentionally. Many people act out of stress, ignorance, or their own unresolved traumas and end up treating the elderly in ways that are dismissive or controlling. Being a good support system requires self-awareness, patience, and a genuine respect for the autonomy of the senior. Listening, actively being present without being overbearing, and validating the elder's emotions are foundational qualities of a healthy and supportive relationship. Everyone deserves relationships that bring peace rather than pain. Especially in old age, this stage of life should be about reaping the emotional rewards of a life well lived, not battling through new waves of disrespect and conflict. Through community education, legal protection, emotional resilience, and strong boundaries, seniors can indeed avoid toxic relationships and live their remaining years with grace, joy, and harmony. Finally, the most important reminder to any senior navigating toxicity is this: you are not too old to start over. You are not too old to say no. You are not too old to put yourself first. And you are never too old to be treated with kindness, dignity, and love. Your age is your crown. Your experience is your strength, and your heart is still worthy of the peace you long for. Do not let anyone convince you otherwise. You have earned every right to peace, and only you can choose to protect it. Every day is a new chance to say yes to self-love and no to toxicity, and every day is yours to claim with strength and serenity.